Urban transportation is certainly a story of the evolution of technology. It started from walking to riding animals, then to larger capacity steam-powered trains, electric trains, and motor buses powered by engines. It is a story of gradually increasing speed, vehicle capacity, and range of travel. It has shaped cities and structured the lives of those who live in them. Mobility is an essential characteristic of urban life because it defines the ability to participate in modern society.
Well, hello and welcome to another edition of Bazaar, the weekly program dedicated to exploring markets of various Iranian industries and how they connect us all nationally and internationally. This week, we will take a look at Iran's automotive industry yet again, which has been making major strides in terms of growth and output. So, let's get this show on the road.
Iran's auto industry can be broken down into three production segments: passenger cars, heavy-duty vehicles like trucks, and public transportation such as buses. We decided to specifically take a look at the markets for buses and commercial vehicles. In order to understand this market, we decided to visit a company that specializes in manufacturing various types of buses that are used for mass transit. Our journey took us to Asia Pishro Diesel Company in Esfahan province. This company manufactures a variety of buses and vans, among other things. It was first established in 1978 and began its work as an auto parts manufacturer. And after decades of experience, the company is now active in manufacturing buses of various types. The manufacturing facilities at this company stretch across an area of around 50,000 square meters. Here, it can produce well over 1,500 heavy vehicles each year. The facility is packed with the latest technology and automated manufacturing equipment to get the job done.
ما تمام موارد کیفیتی رو بنا به استانداردهایی که وارد فنی مهندسیمون غالباً از مباحث استانداردهای ملی و بین‌المللی گرفته پیگیری می‌کنیم که شامل 3 بخش هستش. ما در بخش قطعات ورودی کلیه قطعات ورودی که روی یک دستگاه خودرو قرار نصب بشه پیگیری می‌کنیم، از لحاظ کیفیت چک می‌کنیم. بحث دوممون بحث کنترل خطوط هست که هر ایستگاهی از خودرویی که قرار وسیله روش مونتاژ بشه یا مونتاژ بشه زیر نظر بازرسی کیفیت هستش. تو خط تولید تمام مراحل از جمله اتاق سازی، بدنه، رنگ، بحث نصب سیستم کولر، بحث نصب سیستم موتور، انتقال قدرت و همچنین بحث پی‌دی‌آی نهایی رو در خدمتتون هستیم. تو بحث کنترل کیفیت هر خودرو شامل تست‌های نهایی هستش که بعد از تکمیل شدن خودرو روی اون و در آخر هم تست جاده انجام بدیم که یک خودروی بازسازی شده یا خودروی نو مطابق با خودرویی که به صورت نو تولید شده توی خودرو مطابق با شرایط حالا جاده و تمام مواردی که مورد نیاز هست برای یک تست یک محصول توی شهر اونم پیگیری می‌کنیم.
The global auto sector is highly competitive. In order for Iranian companies to maintain their share in the market, many have tapped into domestic academic potentials. Using such resources helps strengthen productions. Doing so also reduces the country's reliance on foreign suppliers, which has also decreased capital flight.
This company's main claim to fame is that it was the first to manufacture CNG-fueled bus engines. CNG is an acronym that stands for compressed natural gas, which is a more eco-friendly alternative to gasoline. By manufacturing this engine, the company was able to achieve the Euro 6 emission standardization. Essentially, this means that the vehicles matching this emission standard meet some of the standards necessary for European sales.
استانداردهای کلی روز دنیا که بر اساس استانداردهای اروپایی هستند و سازمان استاندارد ایران بر اساس آن محصول ما را آدیت میکنه و تایید نوع و تاییدیه تولید محصول نهایی را به ما اعلام میکنه را که شامل 85 استاندارد میباشد را ما سعی میکنیم و باید حتما در تمام مراحل خودرومون تدوین کنیم و بتوانیم تاییدیه‌هاش از آزمایشگاه‌های معتبر بگیریم و در اختیار سازمان استاندارد قرار بدیم.
Impressively, 60% of the heavy vehicles here are manufactured inside these facilities. That's a number one doesn't see very often. Among its products, one can name minibuses and mid-size buses in 2 models and 12-meter buses in 3 model types. Also, it manufactures 18-meter buses as well as airport buses.
در نرم افزاری که مثل نرم افزار کتیا خودرو به طور کامل مدل سازی میشه و به صورت کامل قبل از تولید نمونه اصلی خودرو در سیستم کامپیوتری شبیه سازی میشه و عیب‌ها و مواردی که ممکنه در تولید منجر به کاهش کیفیت محصول ما بشن رو رفع میکنیم. بعد از اون نقشه های خودرو آماده میشه، نقشه های قطعات به صورت تفکیک شده آماده میشه، در اختیار واحد مهندسی تولید قرار داده میشه.
This firm has partnerships and licenses with foreign brands, namely Mercedes-Benz heavy vehicles. It can design and manufacture the molds and assemble all the necessary parts for various intercity buses and distance travelling coaches. Aside from this, it also manufactures minibus parts with the annual capacity of 400,000 units.
محصول ما شامل قطعات متعدد و متنوعی می باشد که هم از محصولات فلزی، فایبری و پلاستیکی می باشه که این محصولات تماما در درون شرکت با همت و سعی و تلاش کارگران ایرانی و ابزار آلاتی که ساخت خود همین شرکت می باشه تهیه میشه.
People travel in order to meet their primary daily needs. We travel to go to work, to buy food, or get essential services. Many travel for personal development, they go to school, to cultural facilities, or for entertainment, such as sporting events. Mobility stems from needs because rarely do people travel for the sake of travel itself, and this idea creates a huge demand for means of transportation.
One might like to know that most of the sales at this company are based on customer orders. For example, if a city needs a certain number of buses, they would enter a contract with an automaker. The city is supplied with transportation and the automaker benefits from efficient use of its resources while making a profit. This company produces all its vehicles along the lines and standards for exports. So, international customers can also purchase these products and any surplus is exported to neighboring regions.
کشورهای همجواد ما خوشبختانه همشون مصرف کننده هستن، یعنی تمامشون شما همه کشورهای زیارتی سیاحتی هستش، اونا ما میتونیم این خودروها رو صادرات داشته باشیم و انشالله بحث تحریما و روابط‌ها خیلی خوب بشه که ما بتونیم برای بحث صادرات هم این حالا گزینه‌هایی که خیلی خوبی در حالا با ما درخواست کردن اونا هم بتونیم جوابگو بشیم، واقعا خیلی برای کشورمون واقعا مفید خواهد بود.
This manufacturer directly employs over 400 people, including engineer specialists, technical workers, and other staff. It has plans to expand its production facilities to reach over 6,000 units per year. This expansion would provide an extra 2,000 employment opportunities as well.
دولت باید به اصطلاح سودایی که برای صنعتگرا بابت وام میگن واقعا باید این کاهش پیدا کنه، یعنی زیر 4-5% بشه. این واقعا جوابگو نیستش با توجه به این مشکلاتی که برای صنعتگرا ایجاد شده و طی سالهای گذشته. حالا شرایطی هم واقعا به وجود اومده ما خودمون درک میکنیم، اما صنعت رو واقعا نگذاشت بکنه در این زمینه. ما میگه چقدر سود میکنه برای یه خودرو، برای یه قطعه‌ای که تولید میشه یه صنعتگر میگه چقدر سود میکنه که از 18% تا بعضی وقتا تا 30% متاسفانه یه صنعتگر باید به بانک سود بده.
Much of the raw material needed to produce the exterior body parts and some interior items are domestically supplied. The country has rich iron and petrochemical resources from which steel and polymers are produced and supplied to domestic manufacturers. But there are some technologies, such as engine components, that still need to be imported in order to manufacture cars and heavy vehicles. This company believes that the US-imposed sanctions were an opportunity for Iranian industries.
تحریما نمیتونیم بگیم اصلا روی صنعت علاوه صنعت خودروسازی تاثیر نگذاشت. چرا واقعا تاثیر گذاشت و بیشترین ضربه‌شو ما صنعتگرا خوردیم، ما خودروسازا خوردیم. ضرر زیان خیلی سنگینی ما داشتیم در این زمینه و این باعث شد که تولیدمون توقف بخوره. بعضی وقتا شد که نیروها واقعا تعدیل شدن و میدونید نیروی ما هم بزرگترین سرمایه شرکت ما هستش که متاسفانه این اتفاق افتاد و خدا رو شکر امروز نه ما هم موتورهای استانداردهای یورو 4 و یورو 5 ساخت داخل داریم، اکسل هامون و یه خیلی از قطعات که قبلا وارد می‌کردیم الان ساخت داخل شده.
Companies such as the one we just mentioned and other heavyweights in the auto industry are stepping up productions. But the question is, why are they doing so? Aside from increasing profits based on the fifth economic plan outlined by the government, auto production is also meant to increase, and not just in the passenger car sector.
In 2016, the government announced a scheme to replace old and run-down public transportation vehicles, such as buses and taxis. Currently, 1.9 million heavy and light vehicles are operating in the country. Of this amount, nearly 600,000 units are old and outdated vehicles. This translates to roughly 30% of the total just mentioned. Of this 30%, 65,000 units are extremely old. So the government has begun the process of phasing out vehicles that are run down and also cause a lot of pollution. Let's take a look at the capital city of Tehran, for example. The Tehran municipality has decided to spend over $19 million on new buses to bolster the aging public transportation fleet. One of Iran's major automakers was contracted to deliver minibuses and CNG hybrid buses worth over $19 million.
Iran's auto sector did experience a lull in production for a couple of years after 2017. This was mainly because of doubled-up sanctions imposed by the United States, which made international banking transactions difficult. During that period, many foreign brands left the country because they didn't want to risk financial backlash from the US. But the auto sector is still thriving, and it is full of potential.
Iran has a capacity to manufacture some 1.6 million cars each year. This number is expected to increase to 3 million units in the next 4 years. That's based on the fifth economic outlook plan outlined by the government. Last year, Iran produced over 1 million units of various cars. This means that car production in Iran went up by 19% relative to the previous 2 years.
All right, I'm going to make a quick stop and pass the action over to my good friend and colleague out there on the field. Here, take the wheel and teach us all something new.
We are surrounded by cables. We have become so used to them that we hardly even notice them until they disturb the decor or make us trip. However, if we didn't have them, daily tasks like switching on a light in a room, using a lift, turning on a computer, or even keeping a mask in place on our noses wouldn't be possible. Cables and wires come in different shapes and sizes, and the technology needed to ensure a wire stays in good working order for an acceptable period of time without any problems involves complicated operations.
All All of the materials, machines and tools you see around me play a hand in the entire wire manufacturing process. And now that we know just how important wires are in our day-to-day lives, let's take a closer look at their production process, step by step.
The Kayvon Wire and Cable Company started out with only one product line and average basic equipment and machinery back in 1998. They have come a long way since then, catering to a diverse range of customers, gaining a better understanding of their production capabilities and market requirements that's helped them anticipate different conditions and adapt.
Let's say that a customer walks in with a piece of wire or a cable and says, I want this in this amount. Have you ever experienced something like that?
با مواد زیادی از این دست ما برخورد داشتیم. طبعا میتونم بگم که 50% تولید ما اصلا بر اساس نیاز مشتری و نمونه‌ای که مشتری حالا چه داخلی و چه خارجی اون میاره برای ما هستش و آنالیز میکنیم، اون رو تجزیه و تحلیلش میکنیم، مهندسی معکوسش میکنیم و سعی میکنیم نزدیکترین محصول رو به نمونه‌ای که مشتری برای ما آورده تحویلش بدیم.
Once the condition of the wires set to be produced have been determined and the wire designs have all been drawn up, the required data is sent to the foundry.
After the copper, aluminium and galvanized wires arrive from the foundry in the form of coils, they are placed onto such devices and are moved onto wire reels or wire drums, as they are sometimes called. They do this so that these wires can be placed in another device for the next stage, which is the wire drawing. In this stage, different devices stretch and pull the wires equally, equal pressure from start to finish, so that they can reduce the diameter of the wire to the diameter that they want. So you can get different wires with different diameters depending on what you need.
In the last stage of wire drawing, all the wires undergo a heat treatment called annealing. The aim of this stage is to increase ductility and conductivity.
در ابتدا ما با یک محصول شروع کردیم به کار تولید رو و در زمینه الکترونیک بود. الان بالغ بر 50 نوع محصول سیموکابل رو ما تولید میکنیم در این مجموعه. دسته‌بندی های مشتریان ما بالغ بر 5 گروه مشتری هستن که همه اونها به اتفاق خودشون تولید کننده هستن. در واقع محصولات ما مواد اولیه تولیدی های دیگه هستن.
Not all wires are used as conductors of electricity though. Wires and cables have an almost equally important role to play in the cosmetic, health and packaging industries. The following stage of the manufacturing process can either be stranding, in which wires are grouped together and spun around a common axis to get a thicker wire or cable, or covering, depending on the product. For example, if they're going to be used for electrical wiring, the stranding stage is required. But if they are going to be used as nose wires in face masks, stranding is irrelevant.
Wires are usually covered with insulating materials, including plastic, rubber-like polymers, or even varnish for that matter. Nowadays, the insulating and jacking process is done by passing the wires through an extruder like this one.
And now you know that even the tiny nose wires that we've all been bending into shape for over a year now aren't easily made.
الان اجناس ما و تولید ما به خارج از کشور صادر میشه ولی نه توسط خود ما. انشالله این برنامه داریم که خود ما بتونیم همچین برنامه‌ای رو داشته باشیم.
Very good. The road to success isn't always easy, especially when facing long and short-term market imbalances, since in today's global marketplace, even small shortfalls or surpluses can lead to significant price variations.
Even though over the past few years, volatile copper, metal and different alloy prices have led to numerous problems in the wire industry, the Cavan Wire and Cable Company has not only managed to stay afloat, but also surpassed many of its rivals.
And the reasons behind their success can be found in the diversity of their products and standards.
کیفیت و قیمت چیزی که من رو همیشه تحریک کرده برای بهتر شدن، بهتر دیده شدن و اونچه که نیاز مشتری هستش رو سعی کردیم طبق خواسته اون و از طرفی بر طبق موازین استانداردی که تعریف کردیم برای خودمون روی اون خط و اون ریل حرکت میکنیم.
Many thanks for that educational report, just like always. And for our last segment of the program, we're going to take the highway that involves some news and trends in the auto industry. Iran's mega automaker Iran Khodro is collaborating with academic institutions on a turnkey project to manufacture electric buses. This sounds good.
The project was jointly launched with the University of Tehran and Iran's Vice Presidential Office for Science and Technology. The goal is to convert diesel and gas-powered buses into electric vehicles and reduce air pollution in the country. Also, it is meant to assist the country's aging public transportation fleets. Around 80% of the required parts, such as engines, batteries, and chargers, have been locally produced with the help of knowledge-based companies. The first prototype is planned to be unveiled in the summer of 2021.
A domestic auto manufacturer has teamed up with Iran's taxi union to replace thousands of aging taxis with CNG hybrid vehicles. Time for the high-tech stuff to take over.
The goal is to curb worrying air pollution in big cities. The project also reduces gasoline consumption across the nation. Owners of aging taxis file an application with the taxi union. After verification processes, the drivers make a down payment and the license plates of the new vehicle are issued. Drivers are offered low-interest loans by the municipalities to help with the expenses. Over 2,000 taxi drivers have submitted their applications since November 2020, when the initiative was launched.
In the hustle and bustle of busy cities, one practical way to beat the traffic is to get around on electric motorcycles in Iran's mega cities. Now, this is something I'm honestly looking forward to because I hate the traffic and at the same time, I love electric vehicles.
The Tehran municipality and the Omid Entrepreneurship Fund are offering extended soft loans to e-bikers. The loans cover around 80% of the price of an electric motorcycle. This was an effort to promote cleaner methods of transportation. Experts say harmful emission produced by traditional motorcycles is 12 times higher than a Euro 4 standardized light vehicle. Figures released from the Tehran municipality and the Environmental Protection Agency show that around 10% of air pollution in Tehran is caused by aging motorcycles.
Well, we have reached the end of the road for this edition. Take a minute to share your thoughts on this industry with us via email or Instagram. We would love to hear more from viewers like you. Thank you for watching. I've been Samson Sees you in the next Bazaar.